Kia ora and welcome to Tarmac. I'm Dave.
I'm Matthew, and this really green SUV behind us is none other than the latest generation Kia Sportage.
That's right, we've got the Diesel X-Line. It's been freshly faced and redeveloped and has a whole new platform as well. So plenty going on. Come, let's take a look at this.
And before we go ahead, make sure you subscribe to Tarmac Life.
Top tip. Now basically this is the new 5th generation Kia Sportage, and with it comes a whole new undercarriage, a whole new chassis basically that's unique to this model, and also it's the first to come through with the whole new design language from Kia, which basically have 5 pillars. Joy for reason, power to progress, technology for life, tension for serenity, and bold for nature. And it's basically that bold for nature that we see right here with this one. As you can see from the top down here, we've got the new Kia designed logo, and you know, very much spelt out in angles, and you probably already know what that means for there. Down the front here is the new interpretation of the tiger nose, and looking round a little bit further, you've got these boomerang DRLs, which are LEDs, and also some flashing lights here for your, look at that, nice and flashy, and also your headlights are again triple stacked and ready to go. The rest of it very blackened out in this particular model, and also, you know, your vents are going through, so just again a whole new fresh design, fresh face for this Sportage, which is basically 28 years old. Not bad. Round the side, dimensionally the Sportage has grown, so it's now 4.66 meters long, it's 1.86 meters wide and 1.66 meters tall, so there is more space. And also, as I said before, the wheelbase is now grown. It's now on what's called as an N3 platform, and that actually equates to, it's actually bigger and actually equates to more room inside, which Matthew will show you in a minute. Our model comes in jungle wood. I don't know, don't get me started on car colors, but essentially this is a green, so not brown, jungle green wood. Anyway, sitting on 19-inch feet, which are very chiseled and looking good from there, and also a lot more black accents around. The belt line here is sort of a dull chrome, which actually rises towards the rear here, and what they're saying is this is more of a fastback, so you can see this all sort of moves up to the rear here and has this Kia sort of integrated diamondy sort of shape back here, which is, you know, again, nice looking and a good shape. Let's have a look around the rear. A roofline spoiler with your stoplight, and there you've got they're calling this razor tail lights, and they're, you know, they're quite sharp. Not as sharp as a razor, but there you go, and connected by this nice thin strip across here. Again, more Kia new badging from there, and also just a little bit more garnish, a little bit more sort of protective stuff around here. Inside the boot here, we've got 540 litres of boot space, which obviously drops down to, I don't know, I think it's about 1800 litres, but plenty going on there. Let's take a look under the bonnet. A 2-litre turbo diesel that gives you 137 kilowatts of power and 416 newton meters of torque. It sips fuel at 6.3 litres per 100 kilometre, and also, although it is a lot greener than ever before, it still emits 181 grams of CO2 per kilometre out of the exhaust pipe. So although it's a jungle wood green, more efficient vehicle, it's still, I guess it's still tipping the scales a little bit in terms of New Zealand's sort of CO2 numbers, but you know, there you go. Let's head inside, and Matthew, who you know, isn't, well, he's not environmentally friendly, but he is pretty friendly, will show you what's going on in there.
Now, I try and be as friendly as possible, but a cabin like this Kia Sportage, well, that's so inviting and puts a person like me to shame. Because just because this is the X-Line, you get all the nice fittings and all the buttons are filled out with actual buttons and not plasticky bits that don't do anything. It feels really upmarket in here, and it feels really comfortable. Taking a look at the seats first, well, they are sort of a combination of Alcantara and leather, and of course heated and ventilated as you'd expect. They have some nice bolstering and a really nice headrest that sort of molds to the shape of your spine if you like. So Kia have been a bit ingenious there. In terms of the materials, well, you get soft plastics at the top, you get plenty of piano black, gloss black plastics around. There's also this fake sort of wood trim around. Maybe that's meant to be aluminium, but don't take my word for it. You also get plenty of storage cubbies down the middle for your phone in here, where there's a wireless charging pad, plus there's a couple of USB ports, 2 cup holders here, space for your keys, plenty of space underneath there, and of course a heap of space in the door as well. So they really have thought of all the practicalities around this car. As part of this premium line model, so firstly the interior is nicer, the leather seats and all that. You also get a dual panoramic sunroof at the top, which is really nice. And then you also get this curved dual infotainment screen at the front. And that's worth talking about as well. So let's take a quick look at that. Well, this infotainment screen has got a nice curved look to it. In the middle, you have this sort of home screen, if you like, with the navigation in the background, what you're listening to, and then of course your custom profile. Swipe through and you have this really nice purple neon sort of look to it with all of your essentials. So there's navigation, there's phone connection, you can even save voice memos on you, and then have things a little bit quiet if you have sleepy passengers in the back. It's really nice to use, and you have the option of using climate control through the screen here or through this sort of set of dials and buttons down the bottom here, which makes things really easy for the driver. While on the topic of this air conditioning screen, well, you might be wondering, where's the knob for the volume? Well, if you push this little button here with the paper plane, it turns into suddenly shortcut controls for your infotainment screen. So you've got your tune button over there, your volume knob there, and then the shortcuts in the middle. So you can keep switching through for the ones that you want. That's quite intelligent. So the gauge cluster here we have laid out in a more traditional style with your speed on the left, revs on the right. As you can see, there's a little sort of projection of your Kia Sportage in the middle, and all those bars next to the wheel show how much power is going towards each wheel. At the bottom you also have a bar that shows your average fuel economy. Right now we've been doing 7.7 liters per 100 kilometers, so not too far off the manufacturer's specification. You can change what you see on the screen by pressing a button on the steering wheel there, and that flicks through things like your attention level, a digital display for the speed, which you can also adjust to different trip information, your navigation, or the general information for the car as well. And there's a few more customizations that you can do with this gauge cluster as well, but we won't go into that here. Another cool thing about this Sportage is the fact that it comes with terrain management system. So if you press a button in the middle, you get options like snow, mud, or sand. And then if you press that same button again, you can go through the drive mode. So eco, normal, sport, and smart. Right now it's a pretty average sort of road here, so let's stick with normal. The steering wheel itself is a nice leather wrapped unit. It's got these nice thumb grips on it, all the buttons over there that you need, the new Kia logo in front of you, and a little bit of chrome here and there, so it does feel very nice to hold and look at. There's one thing to just hold and look at a car like this, but the other test with that new engine and gearbox combination is to go and drive it. So let's do that. So the new Kia Sportage. Well, 15 years ago, if you had told someone that what you were driving was a diesel Kia Sportage, well, they would have hemmed and hawed about their opinion on your car. But today, if you tell someone that you've got a diesel Sportage, well, they'll sit up and take notice, because this is such a good car, and frankly, a big departure from the cars that we know of old.
Actually, you're right. I mean, firstly, you weren't born 28 years ago. How bizarre is that? And this still looks better than you. How awesome is that? It does have a new design language. It is, I mean, there's so much stuff going on. I've said about the 7 pillars, but it's also, they've come out with things like Opposites United, which is a bit like Man United, but there you go. And also just all this I mean, I guess marketing jargon, but the result is a vehicle that's better proportioned, that's better designed, and we're on some really rough roads and really more dynamic when it drives.
There's no creaks, no jiggling, no vibrations coming through the cabin. It's just soaking up all of these bumps really well, and it feels so comfortable and so well built. Everything you shake and touch doesn't feel like it's going to fall off in 28 years time, if you like.
Unlike myself. This N3 platform, which it really is, I mean, the suspension's good, the actual chassis is solid and light, and it just feels that the steering's well weighted and drives really well on this, like I said, really rough and gravel road.
I think a big part of why this car drives so well is just the combination of that 2-liter turbo diesel engine and then the 8-speed automatic gearbox. They just seem so well suited to each other that, you know, you don't really feel the shifts. There's no the car doesn't hesitate when you accelerate, and it's just smooth. The power delivery is really smooth.
And that, as I say, combined with the suspension that automatically adjusts the dampers, so if you're on a smooth road, it's a lot softer. If it's on this rough and jagged road, then it really responds a lot quicker. So it is a pleasure to drive.
And it's not just, you know, a town and country, or rather, it's not just a city SUV, but as I showed you before, is that it has snow, mud, and sand mode. So when you need to take it off the beaten track, as we are doing now, it has that capability, and it has the technical know-how for it as well.
Looking around the rest of it, the seating is very, very comfortable, and as Matthew pointed out, heated and ventilated. And the steering wheel, you know, traditional round, but everything's there within your thumb dials or within your thumb reach, which is great. The screen, there are so many options that I think it's going to take a while for somebody of my age to start to get used to these things, but you know, you can access stuff. It is all down on menus, and also you can access your phone via QI or whatever it is, so it automatically can do those. Android, actually I think it's just the Apple QI, but anyway, what you know what I mean.
Well, it's the curved screen as well. The way that's laid out just takes this into a different league. Like, it's not something that we've seen before, and it's the first thing that you notice when you step in is just how dynamic the cabin looks.
The curved screen is great. Everything you can see around you is just open and SUV like, but it drives more like a sort of hatchback, really.
And I think that's really become a speciality of Kia lately, is that their cars have just become so good at being SUVs on and off road, as well as being just nice cars to be in and to drive.
Yeah, it feels upmarket, it feels posh, it feels like, you know, as Matthew pointed out earlier, again, there's no missing buttons, there's stuff everywhere. This is the sort of option to go for. Personally, although the design was good on the baseline that I drove a while ago, I felt like it was lacking. This doesn't feel like it's lacking in any way.
Yeah, this is the car that, you know, you walk out of the showroom having ticked all the boxes, and then once you get it, you can have a seat inside, turn up your ventilated seats, and increase the volume on that Harman Kardon audio system. It just has everything.
The other thing is, space-wise in the back, Matthew will show you now, as you see, there's plenty of leg space, head space, and, you know, he's not as short as me, certainly not as wide as me either.
And down under here in Australia and New Zealand, we do get the longer wheelbase models, whereas internationally, some countries do have the option to have a slightly shorter wheelbase version, but I think we'd have the long one any day, right? So
long wheelbase, short wheelbase, there you go, we've got that sorted. The other thing is this dial thing for the 8-speed box. The jury's out for me, I'll be honest with you. It feels cumbersome. I know this is sort of a way that a fair amount of car companies have gone. I think it's gone back to buttons for some others as well, and it just seems odd. But again, if you have it, own it, you'll be fine with it.
It's just as well that they haven't put the volume knob right next to that gear shifter knob.
What is next to it though is your drive mode, and you can flick it up to smart where it does everything, or sport, which does pick up nicely. It's also, you can you can change the audible note for the exhaust, or the sort of enhanced note, so you can go from enhanced to this is enhanced. Oh, doesn't that sound like a race car to everybody? Not really, but you probably just go on soft, and then just turn up your old tunes. So there you have it, the new Kia Sportage. This is the X-Line, and boy, there's a lot going on. It's upgraded as far as its looks. It's got a marketing speak that is longer than my CV, which is actually quite long, and also the other thing to add to this, it's got drive-wise, so there's virtually every single sort of driver and safety age that you can think of everywhere, and it's loaded. It beeps when it needs to. It's actually really good.
It's really well built all around. It ticks all the boxes that you need. And then there's that special sort of new Kia flavor that they've been adding to all their cars, where they just feel a class apart, if you like. It's everything you need, and then some. And a Tarmac Life top tip, get the 2-liter diesel option. We think that's the best one in the lineup.
It is, although there is the HEV and the PHEV to come, and if you're into your environment, which you should be, that's probably the way to go on top of this. But go X-Line, get all the buttons and stuff filled. That's the way to go. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. We are watching. Make sure you are. And see you on the next one. See ya.